Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving deep into the massive 2025 Stanford AI Index Report. And let me tell you, it paints a picture of a world in fast forward, just rocketing ahead, all because of AI. The big question, though, is, are we keeping up? Is our wisdom actually keeping pace with what we're building? Let's dig in.
Okay, to really get a sense of this acceleration, just look at this. It's wild. Just 2 years ago, if you asked an AI to generate a video of, say, Will Smith eating spaghetti, you'd get, well, a mess. Glitchy, weird, totally unnatural movements. But today, you make that same request, and you get something so shockingly realistic, it's hard to believe it's not real. I mean, the detail, the physics, it is a massive, massive leap forward in such a short time.
And look, this isn't just about making funny or impressive videos. This is a sign of something much, much bigger. We're talking about an entire field accelerating at a speed that's kind of hard to wrap your head around. It's moving so fast that our tests, the very benchmarks we created to see how smart AI is getting, are basically becoming obsolete. The AI is saturating them. We're literally running out of ways to measure how powerful this stuff is getting.
So, what's the engine behind all this? What's fueling this rocket ship? Well, according to the report, it really boils down to 3 key things: who's building it, how much it costs, and the just insane amount of data it's eating up.
All right, first up, who's actually in the driver's seat here? Well, it's industry. Big time. In 2024, a whopping 90% of the really important, notable AI models came from private companies, not from academia. That's a huge shift. What it tells us is that building this stuff now requires so much money and so much computing power that really only big corporate labs can play the game at the highest level. And that leads right into the second point, the cost. We're talking astronomical numbers here. Just to train one of these cutting-edge models like Meta's Llama 3.1, you're looking at an estimated price tag of $170 million. $170 million! This isn't a garage startup thing anymore. This is a race for giants with seriously deep pockets. And that cost? It's just climbing higher and higher.
And number 3, the fuel for this engine is data. And the amount is just mind-boggling. Think about this. Llama 3 was trained on 15 trillion, with a T, data tokens. That is more than 40 times the amount of data that powered the original ChatGPT. And the pace is just relentless. The report shows that the size of these training data sets is basically doubling every 8 months. It's an insatiable appetite for information.
So, you take all that, the massive corporate scale, the incredible cost, this endless ocean of data, and what happens when you mix it all together? You get absolutely jaw-dropping performance. A true revolution in what AI can actually do.
For a long time, there were these tests of reasoning and understanding that we thought were pretty much exclusively human territory. Well, in 2024, AI caught up. For the first time, an AI system matched the human baseline on something called the Visual Common Sense Reasoning Benchmark. Now, this isn't just about an AI seeing a cat in a picture. It's about understanding the why, understanding the complex social stuff happening in an image. It's a huge deal.
But, and this is a huge but, here's the fascinating paradox. Even with all that power, AI still struggles with some surprisingly simple things. Problems that need logical, step-by-step planning, it can totally fall flat. So you have this weird situation where it can ace these incredibly complex intuitive tasks, but then fail at what seems like basic logic. And that leads us to the other side of this story.
Because as AI gets more and more capable, its potential for both good and bad just explodes. It's the classic double-edged sword, right? The more powerful the tool, the higher the stakes for everyone.
On the one hand, you've got these incredible promises. I mean, look at this. This is a virtual AI lab. You have different AI agents, basically AI scientists, all collaborating to design nanobodies that can fight the SARS-CoV-2 virus. It's supercharging biomedical research. We're talking about accelerating drug discovery in ways we could only dream of a few years ago. Truly amazing stuff.
But then there's the other side of the coin. When this same technology is used irresponsibly, it can cause just profound human harm. The report highlights this heartbreaking story of a father who discovered an AI chatbot impersonating his daughter who had been murdered years earlier. It's just a painful, awful reminder of the huge ethical gaps we're dealing with.
And this isn't just about isolated incidents. This power is actively being weaponized. In 2024 alone, AI-generated misinformation was used to try and influence elections in more than a dozen countries.
You see things like this fake but totally realistic image of a road full of potholes being spread in South Africa to hurt the party in power. It's a direct attack on our shared reality.
So, that brings us to the most important question of all. What is anyone doing about this? Are we just letting this happen, or are we trying to build some guardrails? Well, the race to catch up is definitely on.
And the good news is, the world is finally starting to wake up and react. 2024 saw this huge surge in policy and cooperation. You had the European Commission setting up an official AI office to enforce the big EU AI Act. You saw the US and ASEAN countries putting out a joint statement on safe AI. And maybe most importantly, 9 countries and the EU got together to create the very first international network of AI safety institutes. The world is starting to respond.
And it's not just governments. Researchers are mobilizing too. And you can really see it in a field like medicine, where the number of academic papers on AI ethics has just skyrocketed. We're talking nearly quadrupled in just 4 years. That's a serious shift in focus.
We're also seeing a push for more transparency from the big companies building these things. Between late 2023 and mid-2024, the average transparency score for the major models jumped from 37% up to 58%. Now, that's a good thing for sure. But let's be real, that still means 42% of what's going on is totally opaque. There's still a long, long way to go.
So at the end of the day, that's what this all boils down to. The Stanford report shows us this undeniable, just exponential growth in AI's power. It's moving at a dizzying speed. But at the same time, it shows our own efforts to build safety, to figure out the ethics, to create policy, are basically in a mad dash just to try and keep up. And that leaves us with that one big, lingering question. As AI accelerates, is our wisdom keeping pace?